So, got some additional good news for you guys. Nerd Nation. So, today I've been working with EUAN Morton, going back and forth all day. And EUAN has just started recording Titan, the second book of ACADIA. And they sent over, the tech did, the first chapter of Titan. Now, bear in mind, this is the raw version of it. But EUAN Morton is so good that it will sound almost like a polished product. He is so good about articulating his words and putting things together that he almost never makes a mistake, which is mind blowing. I actually narrated under the name Jason Finch. I actually narrated the Nickel Rickleby series. And I'll tell you what, every other paragraph I was having to go back, re-record something. EUAN is just that talented. So I wanted to send your guys' way the first chapter of Titan, as it has been recorded today, hot off the press. Give you a little context. If you haven't watched ACADIA, you might want to stop the video right now. But giving you a little context about the chapter, this is going to talk about Brax. Brax is one of the Decamont leaders, and he is on the starship the Perdition. And ACADIA has just been given, he is now in charge of ACADIA, the province of ACADIA. And a few days after he got put in charge of it, ACADIA rebelled. And so he has to go before the Crine, which is the leader of the Decamont forces in the Earth Providence. And it's not good news when you got to go before your boss to tell them that there's a rebellion that started and it's in the area that you're responsible for. So please enjoy. Let me know what you guys think. Bear in mind, this is a raw version, right? I want to emphasize that. It hasn't even been edited yet, but it still is fantastic. Anyway, hope you enjoy.
1. Chapter 1. Brax moved slowly through the long metallic hall, each footfall echoing like a dropped stone. Circular pillars ringed the chamber, angled inwards as though bowing to the domed ceiling far above. No starship in the fringe had a chamber like this, but this was the flagship of the Earth Providence. It dwarfed every vessel beneath its command. Pincers unfolded from Brax's wrists, mantis-like and serrated, once the pride of the Decamont warrior castes. They clicked lightly against the jagged blades that lined his forearms, the sound a relic of vicious traditions long abandoned. In ancient cycles, a Decamont's authority was measured by the length and lethality of his pincers. Now they were used only in the most savage of battles, symbols of a past most wanted forgotten. His dark blue exoskeleton bore hundreds of scars, each a tally of a battle survived, a killing blow endured. War had worn him thin but never broken him. That was why they called him the Wall. In one infamous siege, after his commander had fallen and his own black ichor had nearly soaked his armor pitch black, Brax alone had held the breach. He was elevated 3 links for that feat, unheard of near the capital, common perhaps on the fringe. Enough to make him a relevator, enough to give him command of several human cities, ACADIA among them. And within 2 days that city was in open rebellion. Golden stripes banded the bulk of his armor, marks of the unborn, those who passed the 3 trials. Each stripe carved into his chest plate represented a triumph, a survival, a certification of worth. But here, on the far fringe, under a Crine's authority, stripes meant little. Their society had once been a chorus of many voices. Now it was a fist, tight, singular, suffocating. A Crine on the fringe was a god in all but name. Their decisions were unquestioned, their word absolute law. Brax lowered his eyes as the steps to the throne loomed. The Crine did not acknowledge him. His massive form lounged in a throne large enough to seat 4 Decamont. His eyes were fixed upward, toward the columns, as though he stared into a private cosmos. Brax did not know his name. No one spoke a Crine's name unless addressing another Crine. Their title was their identity. He approached the 7 steps granted to his rank. 9 existed. Only 2 castes in the Empire could climb them all. On the 7th step, Brax knelt, fist pressed to chest, eyes averted. He had heard rumors. One could kneel for hours before this Crine deigned to speak. It only took seconds. "Hail the Arcrine," the Crine said, voice flat, resonant. "Hail the Arcrine," Brax echoed. The Crine rose. His size made the throne seem small. His pincers clicked once, sharp, intentional, sending a tremor down the hall. 3. Brax kept his gaze down. He waited. The Crine clarified. "Iberia, Armian, and now Acadia." "Iberia, Armian, and now Acadia." His pincers snapped shut with a metallic crack. "In over 250 years, only 3 cities have been lost to rebellion. Out of 3,741, only 3, each broken with a single division. But those cities lacked electricity. This rebellion does not." "It is different, my Crine," Brax said. "Explain." "A numberless named Titan severed our connection to the city." A low, dangerous pause. "How did he learn to do that?" "I do not." Brax never finished the sentence. A massive force seized him by the throat and lifted him effortlessly off the step. Instinct flared. His pincers lashed out, but too slow. The Crine had moved like a creature half his size. Brax hung helpless, prey in a predator's grasp. "Do you know what I did to your—" A blow struck the Crine square in the chest, Brax's fist driving him backward just far enough to break his grip. He dropped to his feet, black ichor sliding down his neck where the Crine had held him. The Crine glanced from his pincers to Brax and smiled, a slow, predatory curl. "So, you truly studied in the sanctuary. Not just another shell wearing yellow stripes." Brax rose to full height. "I am unborn. I have passed the 3 trials." The Crine shifted stance, pincers flaring in the ancient Camry style. "Here on the fringe, that means little. I have killed your kind before." He lunged. Brax ducked under the first swipe, returning a strike aimed at the Crine's ribs. The blow was blocked, but only just. They broke apart. The Crine grinned, feral, delighted. "Good." He lunged again, faster this time. His blows hammered into Brax's arms and legs, each impact numbing muscle and bone. Brax frowned. The Crine was skilled, shockingly so for his size. But his technique degraded the longer the fight continued. The first blows of each sequence were perfect. After that, sloppier, predictable. This was Brax's gift. To watch, to understand, to anticipate. And then everything shifted. The Crine could no longer push him back, could no longer land clean hits. Brax's movements sharpened, his counters grew precise. Then, impact. Brax struck the crine hard on the side of the neck with full force. The giant crumpled. His legs spasmed and failed. He attempted to rise, collapsed to the other side, and growled in humiliation. Guards rushed from behind the throne, silver-armored, armed with blazers and arc blades. Several trained their weapons on Brax. Others charged. The crine waved a single pincer. The guards froze. Brax extended a hand to help him rise. The crine looked at it as though considering whether it was a trap. After a long moment, he forced himself to a knee, then to his feet. His eyes burned with fury, but not for Brax. "Did I call for the Yasminian Guard?" he shouted. Confusion rippled through the warriors. The lead guard stepped forward and knelt. "My crine, I thought—" His head left his body before the explanation finished. Black ichor sprayed across the throne. The head bounced twice down the steps before rolling in a slow arc, leaving a curved smear behind it. The guards did not flinch. They withdrew instantly, leaving only Brax, the crine, and the corpse. "Someone had to die," the crine said calmly. "The capital would demand it. It would have been you," he nodded to Brax, "or him, and I am not ready to dispose of you." Brax hesitated. The capital would call for blood. The capital once stood for learning and tolerance. The crine scoffed. "You have been away too long. Ruling has become a bloody affair. But that is irrelevant. We have lost control of a city, one with a functional energy grid." "Give me command," Brax said, stepping forward, defying tradition again. "Grant me your forces, and I will take Acadia back. I will salt its ground with the dead." "How many divisions?" the crine asked, tone flat. "4." "4," the crine repeated. "The other rebellions fell to 1. Acadia has shields. Without ranged attacks to soften their resolve, we must break them blade to bone." "That is no victory," the crine said. "Anyone can win with 4. "Grant me 3, and I will crush Acadia tonight." The crine laughed, harsh and humorless. "We do not have 3. Supplies run thin. Warriors pulled to the core. We have 1 division in reserve." Brax bowed his head slightly. "We can siphon roaches from the other cities around Acadia until we have enough for 3 divisions. "How long will that take?" the crine growled. 4 months, Brax answered. "To transport, reorganize, reassign, and coordinate." The crine studied him, truly studied him, for the first time since he entered. Finally the crine spoke. "Your fate is tied to this campaign. Fail, and I will not only execute you, I will execute everyone who has ever called you friend." Brax stepped onto the 8th stair, a violation of tradition, a challenge, a vow. "Worry no more, my crine," he said. "Acadia will fall."